are an Animal Crossing fan like myself, then the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2 in June probably had you glued to every announcement, hoping for some hint or teaser about the next Animal Crossing game. But strangely, Nintendo has remained completely silent about what's next for the series. So far, there's been no official mention of a follow-up title. This silence has left a lot of us speculating, especially as a rumored Nintendo Direct is expected to happen very soon. With all the mystery and hope in the air, now is the perfect time to break down everything we know, everything we can reasonably guess, and what we should prepare for when it comes to the future of Animal Crossing. The launch of the Nintendo Switch 2 brought several exciting announcements. The launch lineup featured beloved franchises like Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, alongside enhanced versions of classics like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But one thing was notably missing: Animal Crossing. For a series that ranks among Nintendo's most beloved and valuable IPs, the absence felt rather loud. Animal Crossing New Horizons is the second best-selling Nintendo Switch game of all time, with over 44 million copies sold. And also, it wasn't just a game, it was a cultural moment. When New Horizons released in March 2020, it gave us a cozy escape during one of the strangest times in recent history and became a staple for so many players worldwide. Animal Crossing has had a continuously growing, loyal fan base, and this is a game that defines and sells consoles. Also, New Horizons specifically single-handedly turned millions of players into first-time Nintendo Switch owners. The idea that Nintendo would not make another Animal Crossing game is simply not realistic in my opinion. If history tells us anything, it's that Nintendo tends to stay quiet on big titles until they're close to ready. And even though nothing has been officially confirmed, the overwhelming success of New Horizons all but guarantees that a new mainline Animal Crossing game is in development. It's not a matter of if, but when. I'm just going to pause for one moment to cheekily thank you for watching this video and humbly request that if you find it helpful or enjoyable in any way to consider giving it a thumbs up. Okay, good, that's great, let's carry on. To potentially answer the question of when, let's take a look at how Animal Crossing games have historically released. The first Animal Crossing on the GameCube was released in 2001, followed by Animal Crossing Wild World on the DS in 2005, which is a 5-year gap. Then Animal Crossing City Folk released on the Wii in 2008. After City Folk, Animal Crossing New Leaf was released for the 3DS in 2012, again, a 5-year gap. Then, New Leaf and New Horizons have the biggest gap of 8 years, from 2012 to 2020. It was a painful 8 years. It might be notable to mention that Animal Crossing New Horizons debuted several years into the Nintendo Switch lifespan. We are now in the 5th year of Animal Crossing New Horizons' existence, so I believe we are in the window of when we could expect a new game. Now, do I think we will see the next Animal Crossing released this year yet? I am, however, optimistic that we won't have to wait another 8 years between games, but let's dig into this further. Some of you might remember that Tomodachi Life Living the Dream was officially announced for a 2026 release during the Nintendo Direct in March. While this is exciting news for fans of casual life sims, for those waiting on Animal Crossing news, it might be a sign to temper expectations. These two games are both cute life sims that emphasize personalization, decoration, and cozy gameplay. They target a very similar audience, and because of this overlap, it's unlikely Nintendo would want to release both games too close together and risk splitting their own audience. Adding to that, Tomodachi Life doesn't have a firm release date yet. Even if we assume it releases early 2026, I can't imagine we would get an Animal Crossing release until mid to late 2026 as a result. That might sound disappointing at first, but maybe there's a reason to stay optimistic. Continuing with the assumption that Tomodachi Life launches in early 2026, it's entirely possible that Animal Crossing is being lined up for a big holiday 2026 release. That would give players over a year to save up and get their hands on the rather pricey Nintendo Switch 2, especially after Christmas of 2025. Chances are, at this point, many more households will own the Switch 2, so launching an Animal Crossing game at this time makes perfect sense from a business perspective. Animal Crossing games typically thrive when they have a massive player base ready to jump in, and with New Horizons having such a broad appeal, Nintendo will likely want to ensure as many players as possible own a Switch 2 before dropping the next big installment. A side note, they will also probably launch a special edition Animal Crossing Nintendo Switch 2, as they've done with many past consoles, and I am personally so excited about this. Anyways, this is my speculated timeline. Nintendo could be taking their time to make sure the next game lives up to the legacy of New Horizons, and hopefully adding all of the quality of life improvements and new features we've been hoping for. I think it's unlikely that we see a new Animal Crossing game earlier than mid to end of 2026, but there is something that could be announced that would hint that the new Animal Crossing game is much further away than we think. Let's talk about it. There's been a lot of chatter recently about retro Animal Crossing games coming to the Nintendo Switch Online. And if that's true, well, it's so exciting because I would love to play older versions of Animal Crossing again. It's definitely not great news for those hoping for a new Animal Crossing game for the Nintendo Switch too soon. If we do get an announcement about Animal Crossing coming to the Nintendo Switch Online Classic Games list, this almost certainly means that the next mainline game is much further away than we'd hoped. Nintendo often uses retro re-releases to keep a franchise in players' minds during longer development gaps. Think of it like a cozy little snack while we wait for the full course meal. And while it would be amazing, like I said, to revisit these games, it also reinforces the idea that we might not get the new game until 2027 or even beyond. So, until we get the new Animal Crossing, I simply do not want to hear anything about an Animal Crossing retro re-release on Nintendo Switch Online. I don't want to hear it. I don't. Despite the lack of official news, there have been a handful of leaks, hints, and very compelling fan theories coming from a variety of not very reliable sources about what might be coming next for Animal Crossing. Some players believe the next game will expand on multiplayer significantly, which would be amazing to see, possibly introducing real-time co-op island building or neighborhood-style shared spaces with friends. There's also speculation about a true open-world format, allowing players to explore a much larger map instead of being confined to one island. I personally don't love this idea at all, to be honest. It sounds overwhelming, but that's just my 2 cents. Others hope for a return of beloved features that were missing in New Horizons, like Brewster's Cafe, minigames, and more robust interior design. And with games like The Sims, Palia, and Disney Dreamlight Valley, and many others, all constantly raising the bar for customization and social play, Nintendo may be under pressure to evolve Animal Crossing in a more ambitious direction. I certainly hope so. There's also been some data mining that points to new animal types, more advanced weather systems, cities, driving cars, and other expanded player activities. But as with all rumors, take them with a grain of salt. Speaking of all these features, I'm curious to know what you would most like to see in the next Animal Crossing. To wrap everything up, there will be a new Animal Crossing game for the Nintendo Switch 2, but we will just have to wait a little bit longer for it. Yes, the wait is hard, and yes, there is a strong chance that we won't be getting the new Animal Crossing in 2025, and maybe not even in 2026, but that doesn't mean all hope is lost. Nintendo knows how important this franchise is. With the Switch 2 now in players' hands and more announcements likely just around the corner, it's only a matter of time before we hear something concrete. The fan base is massive, the demand is clear, and the timing is really close to being right. In the meantime, the rumored Nintendo Direct coming up could still surprise us. Even the tiniest crumb of content about the new Animal Crossing game would be enough to make me happy at this point. And I'm sure many of you feel the same way. Until then, take comfort in the fact that Animal Crossing is coming. I strongly believe that. And when it does, it might just be the biggest and most exciting entry yet.